Hello friends, let's continue with part 3 of the Biology 2016 state questions. Question number 15. Which pair of organelles works together to give structure and support in animal cells? A. Cell walls and cytoplasm. B. Cytoskeleton and Golgi complex. C. Cell membrane and cytoskeleton. Or D. Endoplasmic reticulum and cell membrane. Let's look at A. Cell wall and cytoplasm. That can't be the answer. We're talking about animal cells, and animal cells do not have a cell wall. B. Cytoskeleton and Golgi complex. Remember, Golgi complex could also be called the Golgi body. Well, cytoskeleton, that's a good answer because we have a skeleton that gives us support. Cells have a skeleton that gives them support, and that's called the cytoskeleton. But the Golgi body, the Golgi complex, does not help in structure and support. It actually just modifies proteins. C. Cell membrane and cytoskeleton. Well, cell membrane, that's good. It's on the outside. Let things get in and out of the cell, so it gives the cell its shape. And we have cytoskeleton. Well, we talked about that before. It gives the cell structure and shape. So therefore, C is the correct answer. Question number 16. In most species, scientists have observed that related individuals share about 80% of the same genes. Cheetahs today, however, are known to share 99% of the same genes. What does this lack of genetic diversity imply about the history of the cheetah population? Well, let's look at our answers. A. Cheetahs have never experienced mutations. This is incorrect. Mutations would add to the genetic diversity if the mutation occurred in a gamete, remember, sperm or egg. The mutation would not be passed to the offspring if it occurred in the body cell. Let's look at B. Cheetahs have experienced reproductive isolation. Oh, that's good. Why? Because cheetahs underwent a sharp decline in population, creating a genetic bottleneck. Today, cheetah's genetic pool is based on these relatively new survivors. This bottleneck created a decrease in genetic diversity within the current cheetah population. So just like we talked about in our lessons, the bottleneck reduces the population. It also reduces the genetic diversity. Reproductive isolation gives you a new species. In this case, the cheetahs were able to mate with other cheetahs, and that's why their share of 99% of the same genes is happening. Cheetahs interbred with other large cat species. Well, first of all, you can't have two species mating with each other. Remember, a species can only mate with itself, and the babies can have babies. D. Cheetahs share a common ancestor with other large cat species. This is incorrect. Sharing a common ancestor would have no effect on the cheetah's genetic diversity. So B is our answer. Cheetahs have experienced reproductive isolation. A group of students studied 4 different cell specimens under a microscope and recorded information about each cell in this table. So we have the characteristics of 4 cell specimens. Cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, and cell 4. What are we looking at? Cell wall, cell membrane, chloroplast, and DNA in the nucleus. What is the question asking? Which cell specimen is a prokaryote? Oh, guys, I like it when it's easy, right? Remember, eukaryotes have a nucleus. Prokaryotes, pro means no nucleus. So, which specimen is a prokaryote? Cell 1 has a nucleus. Cell 2 has a nucleus. Cell 4 has a nucleus. But cell 3, no nucleus. No equals pro. So cell number 3 is the prokaryote. Question number 19. Scientists construct the cladogram of the plants in genus Clusia based on evidence collected from DNA analysis. Which conclusion is supported by the cladogram? So let's look at our cladogram. We have 4 organisms here, right? And remember, if an organism is closely related, they have a common ancestor, okay? And since we're talking about common descent, we can tell when things have evolved and who has moved on, right? So in this case, we have this one, the C, we'll call it CR, and CCY as having a common ancestor. Up here, the CCU and the CVA, okay, do not share a common ancestor as closely as the C Rosa and the CCY. So what conclusion is supported by the cladogram? Well, the CR and the CCY are the most closely related of the four species. Now, you see, I didn't really pronounce those big words, okay? What I did to make it easier for me, and I hope you can do this on the test, just substitute an abbreviation, and that will help you with these long words. Okay, let's look at question number 20. A population of stone crabs is composed equally of three phenotypes: dark brown, homozygous dominant, 2 capital B's, medium brown, heterozygous, capital B, little b, light brown, homozygous recessive. The crab's color is controlled by incomplete dominance. That means when you have two phenotypes, they blend together. In this case, the dark brown and the light brown, we have a medium brown. An introduced crab predator favors medium brown crabs while avoiding the dark brown and the light brown crabs. Predict how this selection pressure will affect the relative frequencies of the capital B and the small b alleles in future generation of crabs. Assume all other selection pressures remain the same and there's no mitigation of crabs into or out of the population. Now, so let's look back at our crabs here. So we're being told that the new crabs are really eating the medium brown crabs. So they're taking away from the gene pool a capital B and the little b, right? However, since they're leaving the dark brown, the 2 capital B's, and the light browns, 2 small b's, our allele frequency really isn't changing. So in this answer, we would put stone crab allele frequency. There would be no change for capital B's, and there would be no change in the percentage of small b's. Okay, students, this is our last question for 2016 biology air test. Question 21. Rabbits were introduced to Australia in the 1800s. They rapidly overpopulated because they have few natural predators in the area. To control their populations, scientists introduced a rabbit-specific virus into the population, and their numbers greatly decreased. However, after several generations, the rabbit population began to increase again. Which statement explains the new increase in the number of rabbits? Well, A, the rabbits interbred with the native rabbit species. We know this can't happen. We're bringing a new species in with an old species. And remember, species cannot interbreed with each other if they're different species. C, some of the rabbits learned to survive even though they were sick. This is incorrect too. An organism cannot learn to survive a disease or an infection. And D, the rabbits were able to have more offsprings and change by changing their reproductive cycles. Organisms cannot change their reproductive cycles. The correct answer is B. Some of the rabbits had a natural immunity to the virus. Rabbits with the advantageous characteristics of being immune or partially immune to the virus would be able to survive and reproduce, passing this advantage on to their offsprings. The population of rabbits would begin to increase again. Okay, students, this ends our 2016 biology air test. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please contact me. Thank you.